Dusty, and we're working in the workshop today. We're building these, which is a Christmas village tree. People put their ceramic Christmas villages on it and then decorate it so it looks like a tree. We're not going to show you how to build that, but we're going to show you how to build some parts for it. These are made with several different circumferences of 5/8 inch plywood circles, starting at 30, going down by 5s to 5, so it's 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and 5. And we're going to cut the 5/8 inch plywood, 4-ply plywood circles. We're going to make a perfect circle using our table saw.
Okay.
This is a 15-inch square piece of 5/8 inch plywood. Actually, it's about 15 and 1/8. We've made a cross ruling on both corner to corner to find the exact center, and I drilled a 1/4 inch hole in the center. On my table saw, you're going to see a lot of fancy jigs for cutting circles on table saws on YouTube and Pinterest and them places, but I'm telling you that all you need is a piece of plywood and a 1/4 inch bolt. I took a piece of 5/8 inch plywood, I cut a hole in the center of it where the saw blade is going to rise through, and on here you can see I've made marks for the different circumferences of circles, starting at 30, 25, 20, 15, and 10. The 5-inch ones I make are too small to make on the table saw, so I make those on the bandsaw. But what we do is I've set my piece of plywood up on the table saw to my mark for 15 inches, which I'll do right now. I've got my piece of plywood cut to the exact dimension of the top of the saw, so all I have to do is line it up with the front edge of the table saw and it's perfect. I clamp it down just on the back sides. I have my blade lowered to below the surface of the plywood. So if I measure from the blade to the bolt, it's going to be half of 15 inches, which is 7.5. So I'm taking my piece of plywood that's cut for the circle and I'm going to put it on the bolt. And I'm going to turn on the saw. You're going to hear the saw begin to cut into the plywood, and that's when I'm going to start turning the piece that I'm going to turn into a circle. Of course, you're going to wear safety goggles while you do this. Since this was kind of an impromptu video, I can't find them, I'm sorry. Another thing you can do is put a wing nut on this bolt to hold the wood closer to the table saw so it won't jump up. Please hold the camera steady. After I get halfway through the piece of wood, I'm going to turn it over. I lowered the blade again, shut the saw off. I'm going to turn the piece over and put it back on. Now the reason I do this is because as the piece of wood goes through the blade, the back of the blade that's is up will cause a groove, an angular groove on the back of the cut. So if you want it to cut smoother and not smoke, it's best to cut about halfway through, flip it over, and then cut the other half. So now we're going to cut the other half. We're going to cut the second half exactly the same way we cut the first half. Raise the blade until it starts cutting into the wood. Do one complete circle, and then I raise the blade about 1/4 of a turn. There you go. You have a 15-inch circle with a hole dead center that can be used for levels on the Christmas village tree, or it can be used for wheels for projects. Anything that needs something round. There's a fast and easy way to make a perfectly round circle on a table saw using only a piece of plywood and a carriage bowl. Thank you.